Whoa.
Some people know him as Ben Haggerty. OGs might know him as a professor. He's an entrepreneur. He's a musician. He's a songwriter. He's a rapper. But the world knows him as Macklemore. Make some noise.
What's up, Portland? How's it going? Yes.
Look at where we started. Look where we got to.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first lines off Chant.
Yeah.
One of the first things you hear a couple bars in off Ben, which came out in March. Fans in the audience, yes. It's been a wild road, man, to say the least.
It has.
3 years ago, you posted a video with Sloan, your daughter, for Christmas, and you gave her her own bobblehead. And you said, in this video on your YouTube, you said, what do you think you did to deserve, or have you done something to deserve your own bobblehead? In this entire adventure, looking back, the ups, the downs, the craziness, at what moment do you think Macklemore deserved his own bobblehead?
When I got it. I think it was divine timing. And no, I don't even remember when I got a bobblehead, but it's very cool to have your own bobblehead. Yeah. It's a very, my kids go down to the garage, we still have like a box of them, like, you know, in some Tupperware, and they pull it out and they break its head off and then they get another one. And there's no respect there with that bobblehead.
Metaphorically, with that bobblehead, we're just gonna keep this going for a second. When was the moment that you were like, okay, this isn't just a 15-year-old Ben thing anymore? You know, we're doing something bigger and better.
I mean, it happened so gradually. And it's different moments, right? I think that there's moments where people are, you know, all of a sudden you're playing in front of 200 people in a city that you're not from, and you're like, whoa, this is different. It's different than it was. And then that turns into 500 people, and that turns into 2,000 people. And so I think it's a gradual thing, and it's not, it feels linear, but it should be linear, but it doesn't necessarily feel like that. You know, you're kind of like going up and down in this way. And one thing that I've always come back to is just like, I've always wanted to make music. I've always wanted to perform. And finding the gratitude in that is where my fulfillment lies. It's like, I was thinking about it today. I remember playing the Satyricon here. And it was in like July. And it was 109 degrees outside. So it was 209 degrees in the Satyricon. And I almost passed out, like literally almost passed. It was still to this date the hottest show that I have ever done. And sometimes when I need to dig deep at a concert, I'm like, remember the Satyricon. Don't forget where you came from. You got this.
To go off of hot venues, you just posted something I loved on Instagram, which is that you're rediscovering a love for venues and the power of which these houses of music hold for people that attend it. That was specifically about the rave in Milwaukee, but you know, I'm sure it's across the world and places you performed. You bring a show that is not just a man playing his music. It is a performance. It is a house of spiritual gathering. You had a moment a couple days ago, you invite kids on stage for a dance-off, and there was this young girl, Willow, who had a little, slip, and you not only made her feel better, you empowered her in that moment. You reminded her that we all slip. Is that something that comes to your mind right when you see that happen? When you see someone slip up, is it just, okay, does it all come flushing back to you?
No. I saw her slip, and I was like, damn.
For those that didn't see, I mean, it was a high kick, but yeah. She still did it.
Still did it. A lot of people, we cut it before she fell. A lot of people thought she was doing the death drop. And if you saw that in person, that was not a death drop. But you know what? You immediately are like, oh my God, I feel so bad. And everyone in the audience is like, and you're just like, come on, get up, you got this, you know. And I think that she reminded me of my slips. It was like that. Willow was our greatest teacher that night, and I think that what I have really been trying to do on this tour, more so than, you know, because in Europe it's like it's bigger and it's these massive festivals this summer, and to get back to America and to really get into the essence of what this is about, which is a connection to the audience and a connection to my own craft. And I've been going out and, you know, I went on a walk in Toronto and listened to my old music, and I'm like, what does this mean to me? This is more than just me like putting together the same set list every night and saying the same thing in between songs. This is an opportunity for me to get a deeper you know, experience through my own art and to share that with everyone that's come out. And like, I've been doing this for a really long time now, and to still be able to, you know, I mean, Portland, you know, sold out these 2 shows like in the pre-sale right away, like to still be able to do that and to get in front of the people and have those moments, like, you know, whether it's with Willow or so many different moments. You know, there was a woman in a wheelchair the other day that did the dance off, and just like empowering herself, just like in her bag in a wheelchair. And I was like, this is reminding me the power of music and the power of human connection.
You noted that you were walking in Toronto and listening to music. When you're in all these different cities, obviously we know Seattle loud and proud. I mean, that's not a secret. But you do have a connection, and you make a point of experiencing these cities that you stop in, that you've been in maybe 100 times. Is there, in a perfect world, and let's take the logistics of scheduling and sound checks out of it a little bit, but when you have a little bit extra time, what do you like to do when you're in a new city?
Well, I got a camera, and I've been taking a lot of pictures. My Instagram is Cult Fringes Film, and you can see a lot of sneaky pictures of me taking creepy photos of strangers on the street. It's great. And it's justifiable in my head because I'm like, you know how many people have taken creepy pictures of me before? It's payback. So I really enjoy that. I enjoy documenting. I think for so many years, it's really easy to like get into a city and be like, all right, I'm in Portland. I'm gonna go to Nike Town.
Yeah.
And
maybe.
Yeah, and I went to Nike Town today, but
He's shooting himself in the foot as he said it. Yeah.
I want to get outside. I want to do different stuff. I don't need any more things. I think that it's about getting outside in nature and meeting people and eating great food and walking and just being a part of. And I got to do that. Sloane's here today. She came down. She's going to be with me for the week on tour. So we went to the Saturday market and bought random trinkets and until my card got declined and I couldn't get a Uber Lime scooter back. That's why I'm a little bit late. Okay, I had a plan. I was gonna
a man of the
Uber
people.
scooter. That thing was just like, no, you're not, brother. Decline. Chase Bank.
Shout out to Sloane, by the way.
Yes.
Directing No Bad Days.
Yeah.
We've seen this video. Excellent job, by the way. You're a proud dad, I can tell, but
Yes.
you should be. I mean, that was no small feat.
Yeah.
There was no dream too big for that video. I did notice she had a camcorder, and some of the footage wasn't used in the final cut. Did you make like a family cut of what was being filmed, or do you have the raw footage that maybe wasn't put out publicly?
Oh, there's definitely a lot of raw footage out there. I mean, any music video that we do, there's so much excess material, and it's tough because you're like, you have these moments that you're like, this moment's better than this moment, but they're close, and the world's never gonna get to see that. Yeah. So that's kind of the hard part about making any sort of art. You know, there's verses that the world will never get to hear and pieces of content, but that's just part of it.
Well, the world does get to hear your art night after night on the Bend tour. And this is, from what I can tell, I'm excited to experience this tonight. I have not seen it yet. But as I said earlier, it's not just a concert, it's a performance. It's a music house of spiritual energy, and everyone's coming together. That's got to be trying to do that every single night. Is there a point, not that you don't want to do it, but maybe a point in the set that, like, if everything's not going great, or maybe just like it's a little bit lackluster, the crowd's still getting into it, what's the song you look forward to the most in a set?
I will say that if it feels like that, that's my fault. That's my issue. Those are my expectations that I'm putting on things being the right way, the way that I want them to be. And my goal when I'm on stage is to not feed into my own expectations and being like, oh, we're in Milwaukee, like they were hyper last time, like why isn't this, feel the same? It's like, no, this is exactly the way that it's supposed to be right now. And it's my job to be a conduit, to get out of my own way. And it's probably, in terms of actually answering your question, I think it depends, because it is a battle. It's a mental and physical battle. And like tonight, we're in like a small theater. I think it's the smallest one on the entire tour. And there can be moments of like, having to dig really deep to be in that place of gratitude and appreciation. And so I try to bring it back the minute that I feel my mind going to like, I can't hear myself, or like, that person didn't hit their choreo, or like, ooh, I missed that part. I'm off tonight. I should have, eaten more or whatever. I just try to come back to that, like, yo, everything is exactly what it's supposed to be. And so each song is different. I think that there's been like moments on this tour where, obviously, like Can't Hold Us is gonna go crazy every time, but that's like the last song in the set. So I have to find gratitude throughout the entire experience.
You've always spoken on authenticity since the very beginning. 2005, on your album, you had a song called White Privilege. And this is before many people, myself, naive, we didn't hear that term yet. What made a 2005 Macklemore realize, like, hey, this is a message that needs to go out there? I mean, I know it was situationally based as well, of what you were experiencing, where you were, but that was a message that needed to be heard, that you amplified at a time when most people, especially white people, weren't doing that.
I think that for me, music is a means of finding my truth, finding the truth about the world, my place in it. And this was a time period where there was kind of that was in 2000. I started writing that in 2003. There was like a changing of the guard. 20 years ago, there was a changing of the guard happening in terms of pop culture and hip hop music. And of course, you had different eras throughout the 90s of hip hop becoming bigger and bigger. But then once M kind of opened up those floodgates, it became a different demographic that was going to hip hop shows, and I was seeing that, and I just wrote about it, and I wrote about my place in the culture, questioning cultural appropriation, where I stood, and that's what art always is. It's like the paper is a means of reflection. It's a means of getting to that core and exploration. And one of the things I never wanted to do was just be like, I'm a white guy that raps, and let's just pretend like that's not the case and keep benefiting off of the culture versus examining it and, at the very least, being honest about my place in it.
Authenticity at its core. Love that. Ben is out. One of the producers on this is Ryan Lewis. A year ago, you posted, or almost a year ago, this kind of reconstruction skit of you guys seeing each other for the first time at a store. I feel like a lot of people can sympathize with losing a friend or becoming estranged from a business partner or a family member. When you guys did reconnect, how did you toe the line of, hey, let's be friends again before we work together? And how fast did that happen?
Man.
What's your favorite color?
Thank you, blue, green. That's a really personal question.
That's fair.
And I do not shy away from personal questions at all. It's weird. Ryan's really been on my mind and my heart the last couple days, and my voice isn't up to shape, so I haven't called him, but I've been meaning to. And yeah, I think that period, that breakup was hard, I think, for both of us, and it was hard in different eras, you know. And I think the one thing that remains the same is whenever I see Ryan, whenever I talk to Ryan, there is so much love for the music that we've made together and the friendship and brotherhood that we had and have. It's one of those people that it doesn't feel like there's a day, you know, it's like, oh, I just saw you yesterday, even though it's been 2 years. And I'm rooting for him always. And I think that's at the forefront of everything. And I don't remember exactly, you know, the parameters around seeing him for the first time, but I know that I wanted to connect on a human being level more than just like get into like the, you know, what BPM and what key are we going with and what's this song about? It's like, no, let's just like have fun and go get coffee and talk. And that's where actual like real connection and music comes from. It's sometimes so easy to get caught up in the mind in the studio. And I think throughout the years, Ryan has like got into his bag just in terms of like living life and loving it. And I think that I've done the same thing. And when we create together, there's still that spark and that magic.
I appreciate the honesty and the openness. Thank you. We'll end on this super quick. What's your favorite Capri Sun flavor? Is that more in the line we were looking for?
Pacific Cooler, baby. Let's go.
Portland, make some noise for Macklemore.